Hi, everyone. Welcome to the last Tech Tuesdays of the year, all about Zoom for holiday gatherings. Hi there, I'm Lydia Nimke. I've been doing adult programming at the Bayview branch of MPL for the last 3 years or so. With us today, we also have Beth Gabriel from the East branch,
Hello, everybody.
and she'll just be in the background answering any technical questions you may have and reading your questions about today's presentation aloud. You can ask questions by typing in the panel on the right of your computer screen or by pushing the question mark at the top of your mobile device. So I really wanted to end this series of programs with this presentation in particular to show everyone that we can still make memories with our families, even though those memories are going to be very uniquely 2020. So let's get into the agenda for today. Stop sharing my webcam, and here we are. So first, I'll just be going briefly over the setup that must be done before coordinating a Zoom gathering. And then there are a couple different ideas of how you can make your Zoom gathering very interactive and fun and intimate and more than just people sitting around talking to each other. I'll talk about how you can share your year's memories, play games with each other, and do other fun activities. And then towards the end, we're just going to do a demonstration of creating a meeting and sending out an invitation and a couple other things. And then finally, we'll jump back into the presentation for best practices for leading a virtual meeting. Now, although this program is specifically about Zoom, you can use any virtual meeting software. GoToMeeting, Skype, Google Meet, and more are all available to you as well. You'll just have to check and make sure that the features you want to have are available in that virtual meeting software. This is by no means an advertisement for Zoom. I'm not connected to them at all. So there are several things that I mentioned you'll need to do before you host your holiday gathering on Zoom. The first thing you'll want to do is sign up for an account, of course. And then you'll want to choose your account type. So paid accounts do offer a few more features than free ones, including unlimited group meetings and social media streaming, as well as the option to call into the meeting, which is great if you have friends or family who aren't so computer savvy. The pro level account, which is the least expensive one, will cost about $15 a month, and you can cancel it after a month if you find you don't need it anymore. Free accounts can still do a lot of the basic features like breakout rooms and virtual backgrounds, but the key thing here is group meetings of more than 3 people are limited to 40 minutes. Honestly, you can certainly get around this by just ending and restarting your meeting. It's a little bit of a hassle, but it might be worth it to save some money. And then a couple more setup pieces. We'll be going over these setup steps in more depth during the demonstration portion of today, but in general, you want to, of course, schedule your meeting, decide which activities you're going to do if they require any additional setup, and then send out your invitations. You might want to get some group input from the people you're inviting before deciding on your activities, or you can just decide them on your own. So up first, sharing your year. We're going to discuss how to share your year via Zoom. One great way that you can do this is by showing a family slideshow. And multiple people in your group can do this. You can do this with a variety of photo management tools. Flickr is an easy option that I'd recommend. You can even show your slideshow in whatever photo management system you use on your computer. So whether that's iPhoto or the one that's on Windows, you can use that as well. I'd recommend that you move all the photos you want to share into a folder and show that folder when sharing your screen, just so nothing you don't want to be shared accidentally comes up. Or you could put them into a PowerPoint template that looks like the one I have here, kind of like a photo album or scrapbook, and share it that way. It's really up to you. You could also host a PowerPoint night, which is great for a mostly adult group. You can choose a theme and inform those invited of this theme and ask them to create a short presentation. Kind of an example idea I have for this is best holiday movie. So ask your invited to create a PowerPoint arguing why their favorite holiday movie is the best. And then you can ask those who attend to vote for the best presentation at the end. The goal of this is really to just have a fun, silly, and light night where everyone gets a relatively equal opportunity to share. Show and tell is really a great version for groups with lots of children. You can ask everyone to gather a favorite object and explain what's cool about it. Themes could be a favorite book, toy, picture you've drawn, or game to play. You could even do a pet showcase where you show off your animals to your friends and family. There's a new puppy in my family actually that I've never met, so I would really enjoy doing this one personally. So you can also play games on Zoom. If you're a board game type of family or group, this would be a great and super fun option. Board games and card games that you can play online are plentiful. You'll just want to choose a game to play and make a game and share the link in the Zoom chat and or establish rules and have a blast. A lot of board games, depending on who you're playing with, have house rules. So if you have any house rules that you're expecting everyone to abide by, you definitely want to make that known. So here are just a couple examples of the types of games that are pretty well suited to playing via Zoom. Pictionary is a super fun game that you can play with the whiteboard function of Zoom. So again, you can make your house rules or play by more official rules. Scattergories is played either through a website or app, and you'll invite friends to play with you with a link. Yahtzee is just a great option because it's a game that lots of people have, but all you really need to play it is a set of 5 dice. You can easily find the list of, things you're aiming to get with the dice rolls on the internet. Otherwise, you can play this game online or through a mobile app as well. Card games are also very plentiful. Canasta, cribbage, all bad cards are all fun games you can play. All bad cards is kind of like an online version of Cards Against Humanities. So that would be super fun and pretty hilarious to play. And the other games, you don't really need other apps or websites to play. These, bingo, you can send out bingo sheets via email or mail beforehand, and they can come from a wide variety of categories. It's not just, B9, the traditional bingo. You can do holiday bingo or Thanksgiving food bingo, or, you can find different themed iterations. A simple one you can play is name, place, animal, thing, where you'll throw out a letter and you go around the group giving a name, place, animal, and thing that start with that letter. Simple enough. And charades. Of course, charades is really well suited to a visual medium. So you can look up a charades generator, find a word, and go from there. Generally, any of those parlor games that people would play before technology took over are really good options because as long as you can see the person, you can play with them. So there are many more fun activities that you can do virtually. Scavenger hunts are a great option, and these can be more adult or kid themed depending on the makeup of your group. A really good scavenger hunt for families is linked in your handout. You'll set a time limit and assign points for each item that your attendees can find in their homes in this time limit. As with this and some of the other games mentioned, it's really up to you as the organizer if you want to provide actual prizes or do these things just for the glory. Karaoke, super fun. This requires a lot of setup, fair warning, but it is really a lot of good fun and hilarious. The Wired article that is linked in your handout explains in depth how to facilitate a Zoom karaoke night. So be sure to check that out if you are interested in doing this. Gift exchanges. You can use Elfster or a similar service where you'll input all your participants in the gift exchange, and then they will draw who your person to give a gift to is, and then you can view their wish list of items. You can ask them anonymous questions about sizes and colors and ship the item directly to them. And then everyone who participated can come together on Zoom and open their items together. And just a final fun option is reading screenplays. You can do like a table read with your group and make it really fun. If you come from a theater type family like I do, it would get pretty intense for me. So you can find free copies of many famous screenplays on the internet. I included links to some places you can find them in our handout. But when choosing what to read, you should keep two things in mind: how many performers you have and the overall tone of the film. You want to pick a relatively dialogue-heavy script, which is why those classic screwball comedies are a really good choice here. Some of the blockbusters are a little too reliant on visual spectacle to work as a read-through. So like Fast and Furious is mostly cars driving, so it wouldn't make a very good table read. You want to think about films with either 2 or 3 obvious leads and sub-characters that spring off from them, or movies and scripts with a self-contained main cast, like The Breakfast Club. 6 people all together. That would be great for a group with 6 or 7 people. So that is some of the fun things you can do on Zoom. Now we're going to move on to the demonstration of the portion. Okay. So here I am. I'm all logged in to my Zoom. I decided to just stick with a free profile for the purposes of today. And right now I'm in my profile. So if I wanted to go to my meetings, I would click on Meetings and click this blue Schedule a Meeting button. First off, I want to name my meeting. And I can also put in a meeting description if I choose. Down here is where I'm going to select the date and the time. So I will select the date. And the duration. So in here I'm getting that notice. Your Zoom Basic plan has a 40-minute time limit on meetings with 3 or more participants. So if I had a meeting with just myself and another person, I wouldn't really run into issues with this. But if I wanted to have a large group, then I would be cut off after 40 minutes. So you'll set your time zone information. You'll usually leave your meeting ID to generate automatically. And I have the passcode enabled for my account. I would leave that way, and you will show you exactly how your participants will get in a little later. I also have the waiting room checked because this allows me to send out the invitation far and wide so I can get, as much participation in my friend and family group as whoever wants to come can come. But that also allows me a little bit of added security in that they first come to the waiting room and then I, as the host, allow them into the main meeting. So just a little added security is always okay by me. And then our video settings. So it defaults to off on my account. So I will just say that the host can come in with their video, meaning their webcam, on. And I would say that the participants can come with their webcam on as well, just so nobody has to search and figure out how to turn on their webcam if they haven't done it a bunch of times. And there are a couple of more meeting options down below. I'm going to leave those and click save. And there's my meeting. So now I'm in the manage page for my meeting called Family Gatherings Are Fun. So if we scroll down a little bit, right in the middle of the page almost, we see this invite link. So if we go over here to the right and click copy invitation, we'll see a meeting invitation. So I would copy this meeting invitation and you'll see it's copied to my clipboard. And from there, I could simply paste it into an email and send it to all my family members who I want it to come. And they would be able to click this link and join my meeting. They also receive that passcode and they'll need to enter that to join. Okay. So if we go back to my meetings, we'll see I have 2 meetings scheduled here. And I can go right to this blue button here and start that meeting. Even though it's not the day I scheduled it for, even though it's not the time, I can click start and schedule that meeting. So one word of caution I'll give you here is that for hosting in general, if there is a desktop application available, you'd want to use the desktop application. Your participants or your attendees don't necessarily need to, but you as the host, if it is available to you, I suggest you download the desktop application. There's often some slight differences in functionality and tools, so I would recommend that option. So I'm going to open the desktop application here. There I am again, just to quickly run through some of the tools that you can use. All right, so down here in the lower left-hand corner, no, it's kind of small. This is where it says unmute, is where all of your audio tools are. You can select your speaker, select your microphone, change your settings. All of that good stuff is by that microphone. Similarly, next, we have your video. So I can stop and start my webcam, or I can press that little up arrow to get to more options and select a different webcam. So moving on to security, this gives you a couple other options as well. So you can enable the waiting room as we talked about previously, but you can also lock the meeting. So after a certain time, you are able to lock the meeting so that no one else can get into the meeting. And it's up to you whether or not you want to do that. It's a good thing to know how to do just for security's sake. So that lives under the security button. You can also give your participants permission to share their screen. So under this share screen, that means they can show you content. So if you do a PowerPoint night or a family slideshow night, it is very beneficial to allow your participants to share their screen as a whole instead of one at a time. I'm going to turn the video off because there's a little bit of lag, but I'm still in the Zoom meeting. So if I click on participants, all the people in the meeting will come up. And there are different tools you can use to kind of manage your participants. I'm the only person in this meeting, so I can't show you that now. But you can also close your participants and bring up your chat. So in your chat, you can write messages to everyone and everyone can see it, or you can change it and send a direct message. So this is all under your control as the person who created the event. So if I click on these ellipses in the lower right corner, I can say participants can chat with everyone publicly or everyone publicly and privately, and a couple other options. It's up to you what you'd prefer. So I can also share my screen. So I can do that. I'll click that and I'll select which screen I'd like to share. So I can share specific applications. I can share my iPhone or iPad. I can even share my computer sound. I didn't discuss watching movies together, but you can certainly do that. In which case you'd want to share your computer sound with your participants, of course. So I'll just show you the whiteboard function quick. So say you share the whiteboard function, everyone in your Zoom is going to be able to see this whiteboard function. So if you're playing Pictionary together, you can draw and everyone will be able to see what you're drawing and guess what you're trying to say. It's supposed to be a 4-leaf clover and a heart, but to mean lucky and love, but I don't think anybody would get that. And then when you're done sharing your screen, you can just stop share, and you'll go right back into the meeting. Easy peasy. You can record your meeting to share with people who might not have been able to attend. It's always kind of good to let people know if you're going to record them or not. You can also do your breakout rooms. Even in the free version, you can send people into small groups. If you have a lot of teenagers or something who will be attending, you can send them into their own room and they could talk about school or whatever they want to talk about, or you can keep everyone all together. And then the final thing on this bar at the bottom is reactions. So you can ask everyone to give a thumbs up if they're ready to play categories. And if they like the game, you can ask them to give you a clap. So when you're all done with your meeting, you can click end, and you can either end the meeting for all, so the meeting is done for everyone, or just you yourself can leave that meeting. And that's a really, really brief and basic walkthrough of Zoom. Okay. So now we'll just talk briefly on best practices for your Zoom gatherings. So you want to start early, if at all possible. Make sure that you start your session as the organizer at least 15 minutes early. There are always going to be people who show up early, so you want to be there to receive them. Set the duration of your meeting with care. With a ProZoom account or another service, you can absolutely schedule your meeting to last for 3 hours, but it may be best to include wording in your invitation that says come and go as you please, or call it a drop-in event. People may be hesitant to say they are coming if they know they can't stay the full 3 hours. You can also set your time to be for like an hour and just keep it going as long as people are interested in staying. Rehearse all technical aspects. Practice truly does make perfect with this stuff. Take the time to work out any technical kinks on your end by running a smaller meeting and getting used to any features you plan to use in your gathering. We do this at MPL for all of our programming, as especially when we're trying anything new or any new tools, and we do it to help our presenters get comfortable with using our GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar. Along with that, recruit a person to help. There's probably someone in your group of people who's attended and or run multiple virtual meetings. Ask them to be available to help you if you should run into any snags. Make them a co-host so they have full abilities within your meeting. And similarly, we do this at MPL. Beth is my point person to help me throughout this. If I run into any technical difficulty, she is there to kind of pick up my slack if I need it. So also you want to provide housekeeping at the start. It's really great to let those in attendance know how they can interact with you and each other through the chat or whatever other tools you may be using. It's great to start everyone off at the same point so that they are all aware of how to accomplish things within the meeting. And then lastly, try and make eye contact. This one is very hard for me, especially, but at least for portions of your meeting, you should try and look directly into the webcam, not at your screen. It gives the illusion of eye contact with the people on the other end. Okay, are there any final questions before we wrap it up for today?
I don't see any questions right now. A few people were late and asking if a recording would be sent out, and I said absolutely. In a few days, you'll get an email with the recording. And then
Absolutely.
let's see. Somebody had their hand raised, but I don't see a question.
Okay. If you have any questions, keep them coming on in.
Karen says, great presentation. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Arlene wants to know, do we have any plans for more sessions next year?
Absolutely, we do. And that kind of brings me to our next, my next little slide about Tech Tuesdays in general. We've done presentations on all of these topics. Cutting the cord, LinkedIn, delivering curbside were some of our big attendance drawers. And there's more to come. The series will start again in February with some repeated topics like those ones I mentioned, but also a host of new and exciting topics as well. I hope you'll all stay tuned in to the MPL webpage at mpl.org and attend these and other fabulous virtual program offerings from us. Please let me know if you'd like any recordings of these presentations. I'm more than happy to send them out to you. But in the meantime, you can always visit the Milwaukee Public Library YouTube page and view some recorded programs on demand.
Awesome. Let's see. Judy is asking a question. You may have covered this at the beginning. She came in a little late. Did we cover what it costs to use Zoom, and are there different types of Zoom?
Sure, totally. So I'm talking about Zoom meetings in this account, and the least expensive paid account, which generally is great for a single personal user, costs $15 a month. And there's no contract, so you can just have it for a month and drop it after you're done with it. Thank you for the question, Judy.
All right, and then Daniel would like to know, how do you share video?
How do you share video? Totally. So under that share window in Zoom, it's under an advanced share option. So you can either share it locally on your computer if it's something that you have downloaded to your computer, or you can share it like a YouTube video, say, and just share your system sound, which is that lower button in the corner that I mentioned.
Let's see, and then Karen is excited, yay for more sessions, which awesome. And then Sandra would like to know, how do you take a picture? I'm assuming that means a screenshot, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple ways to go about it. If you have a specific screenshot application that you use, some people do, you can do that. Otherwise, you can just simply press your print screen button, which is near the top, near the function keys of your keyboard, and that takes an instant copy of everything on your screen at the time. Thank you for the question. And you'll have to
Um,
copy and paste the photo somewhere, of course.
Very good. Oops, that's my email. Arlene says, yep, please send me a recording. We will. And then thanks for all your efforts this year. It was something to look forward to and learn.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining Beth and I for these weeks. It's been a pleasure to share these things with you. And I'll stick around for a few more moments if there are any additional questions, but have a wonderful week. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm just going to drop a plug. I'm going to be hosting former librarian and author Nancy Pearl this evening at 6 p.m. if anyone is interested in joining us. She's going to talk about her new book, The Writer's Library, and we're going to share some recommendations for books to kind of armchair travel with this winter since we can't go anywhere. I dropped the link to the program in the chat. That's happening tonight at 6 p.m. through GoToWebinar. So pretty easy. You don't have to sign up. You just click the link and you'll be able to log in at 6. Thank you for considering.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.